The Philippines. Section 1 had been already prestiged to provide support. An official not to be named in the Philippine Armed Forces had reviewed the information and had approved the DIA assassination mission. The general and his new major flew tourist class over Leyte Gulf towards Manila, getting to know one another some more. General, since we never wear insignia, would it be too forward of me to inquire how many invisible stars you have on?
No sweat, for one must know the total situation. 7 stars.
I, the Major, pondered this amazing fact for a few seconds. Well, if we consider that the President is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, then this seems to give him the equivalence of 6 stars. So, are you, somehow, higher than him? And wouldn't you still have to report to the Pentagon and or the President?
Glad you asked, Major. The Pentagon reports to me, in a sense, although they don't know it, for I receive their defense intelligence directly. As for the President, while he gave me the initial authorization, he does not wish to be informed, except in certain rare cases. Thus, in a way, I am indeed above the President.
This is also that there are no paper trails, emails, desks, phone messages.
His phone line can be ultra-secured when it needs to be, but he really does rather more enjoy reading about some of the events in the newspaper. As for us, there are no medals, commendations, or any kind of mention whatsoever in any way.
It's amazing that a part of the military has gone paperless.
We still have some in the bathrooms.
Suppose, you happen to overdo some questionable assignments in some persistent fashion.
Assassins might eventually hunt me down.
Might.
If they could find me.
General, I wouldn't have to call you General if I knew your name.
Well, we don't use real names here, and I don't even know your full name either. This prevents any torturers who may get a hold of us from learning anything about that.
Do you have a stage name?
Yes, I was going to say that you could call me Magic Dragon. I will call you Questor. These are code names that are just between us.
The President must have a lot of trust in you.
If I have earned it, then he has it.
Do we ever take out heads of state?
No, the CIA can now do that.
Does the CIA have a 7-star general?
No, for they are somewhat more accountable.
And they focus more on espionage and politics?
Indeed, while we focus on military defense, there is some overlap, however.
The plane was landing. I'll see you on the other end, Dragon.
Hope so, Questor. You do know that there are sometimes hidden variables that can arise in these far and foreign missions.
Yes, for this is not so straightforward as crossing the border into Cambodia from Vietnam.
True, and while the Philippines is a friendly ally with the U.S., it's not like they can all be in the know, excepting for my contact there.
I, the Major, bid farewell and switched to another plane that would take him far to the south, then a ferry to Mindanao, a region of over 7,000 islands. After hiking for a few miles in the dark, the Major located a box containing a sniper rifle, just where it was supposed to be, and loaded it. Halfway up a hill, he had a decent view of the Philippine Army outpost. He settled in and waited for the glow of tropical dawn. His target was an early riser who never stayed up late partying. At the hit of twilight dawn, the Major, or Questor as we may call him, spotted his target's office, it having the man's rank on it. Of all the stupid things to do, the man must have felt safe here. The Muslims had a kind of a temporary base about 10 miles south, putting our quester very much between rock and a hard place if anything were to go wrong. It was time, for the target was coming out for his morning stroll alone. Another silly move. The shots rang clear and true and the man was no more. As one might imagine, some troops came running out, heading for the fallen man. Again, something they should not be doing, in case they were all targets as well. Quester didn't move yet, as all eyes would be looking around now. Most looked in the wrong direction, for the echoes from the hills had confused their ears. He then disassembled the rifle and packed it, and headed off very slowly, with much stealth, toward the path road blocked by many obstacles, over which he clambered easily. The mission had been routine so far. A few minutes later he was surprised to receive a call, since radio silence was supposed to be in effect.
This is Magic Dragon. There is a problem. The Muslims are unexpectedly on the move, and the Philippine army has made a wild guess, hitting the nail on the head, and is now heading right for your road. There will soon be eyes everywhere, even above, so your pickup plan has been aborted. Are you well on the path past the obstacles?
Yes, I am.
Good, for they are not quite onto you exactly, yet, for you are just the receiver of this call. They can try to trace us, but not you. However, they will never find us. Here is the plan, until further notice. Run like the wind, right on past the pickup point. Call us in about 12 minutes or so, sooner if there's a problem.
That's the extent of the plan. Run like hell?
Ready, get set, go.
Quester was off and did about 2 miles in about 10 minutes, then slowed and stopped for a look about the ridge. To the north, a take from the army outpost was clearing the obstacles from the beginning of the path road. To the south could be seen some Muslim helicopters warming up. The insurgency might drop troops near one end of the road while the Philippine army jeeps approached from the other direction. He noted swamps everywhere, a bit inland on both sides of the path. They would be infested with dengue fever. It seemed that Lady Luck was nowhere to be found in this far land. Well, at least it was not storming or raining. But the vise was about to close and there was no way out. Wherefore is the vaporous lady who rains good fortune upon me. Her portal to the net must yet be broken. Probability has regained its memory and spoken. Was this magic dragon just going to leave me here? Thought Quester, whether intentionally or because now he had to. What did he mean initially when he said to trust no one? Not even him. He meant that trust had to be earned. But it's not like some foreign aircraft could bomb the Philippines and create some international incident upon their tracking it. Besides, the Filipino troops were fine, and the successor to the dead general was a good man, not even corrupt. A poem-like story came to mind, so you must not be frightened if a sadness rises up before you larger than any you have ever seen. If a restiveness, like light and cloud shadows, passes over your hands and over all you do, you must think that something is happening with you, that life has not forgotten you, that it holds you in its hand. It will not let you fall. Rilke. Now rested enough to speak, Questa dialed up the magic dragon, unfortunately now broadcasting his precise location to his foes, but he had to, saying it's all turning to shit. I'm going to be surrounded soon. I know when all is lost. It's okay. That's the breaks, Dragon answered, replying.
They have you surrounded but in 2 dimensions.
Dragon answered, replying.
He gave these instructions. Get off the trail slightly. You have about 5 minutes to dig a hole. The mud is soft. Then get in it and cover yourself completely when you hear the slightest hint of a screeching sound. We are sending 2 massive pulses, a bit north and south of you. There will be some residual overlap. Plug your ears and hold your breath for as long as you can, and then emerge. You will then note a small package descending. It's shooting and floating down slowly at the last minute, for we have your GPS location now just as well as anyone does.
Questa was already digging the fastest hole he'd ever dug. It was quite wet at the bottom. He looked to the sky but saw nothing. He soon heard a whining sound and quickly swept in the remaining dirt upon his head. The decibels were almost deafening, and lasted for a bit of a while. He was probably turning blue as he grasped back up through the dirt and gasped for air. What the hell was that? He thought. And this package, it had better be good. But he held little hope for it. The package landed, looking like oxygen tanks, but it was a jetpack. The instructions said to take it straight up, pointing up the exhaust if the air got too cold, presumably so he could rise up through the warmth of it. He was off in a minute. Upon reaching a decent height, he noted that very many trees had been flattened from the pulses. It would probably be reported on the evening news as some kind of cyclone, for they don't call them hurricanes in this part of the world. Yet, there was nothing up here in the sky that he could tell, and certainly no skyhook. Up and up and up he went, the air getting much cooler, so he pointed the exhaust upward. Did they want him to come back down in some other place yet crawling with problems? He suddenly felt drawn, as if in a magnetic field. Yes, that had to be it. It was an attraction upon the tanks of his jetpack. He let it happen, having a feeling of being swept into nowhere. There it was, a giant black bird. The plane had suddenly become visible. Was this some new kind of stealth aircraft that was invisible to the eye? What the heck? I never heard about this. He was pulled into a rear port, and then was steadied by the general himself. What a surprise. Magic. Why didn't you tell me?
Because we've never tried it before.
How come?
There were no volunteers.